Hi. This morning, we're gonna have Colorado Cola, unflavored Tailwind, spring gels, blocks, scratch, and goo if we have to. Trail Talks.
Welcome back to Trail Talks with Matt and Jenny. Today we're discussing shoes, food, and running.
So trail shoes. What do you have there?
Trail shoes.
Yeah, so with the trail shoe, the most important thing is that it fits and feels good for you. A lot of people want to be told like what shoe they should run in, and really if it doesn't feel good on your foot, it's not the right shoe for you.
So I like a snug fit shoe, like something that's like tight on my foot. Doesn't feel loose. I find shoes, ran in a Nike Wild Horse, I think it was, and I found like the toe area was really big. So running down the trail, it felt like half my shoe was tight and half my shoe was loose, even though it was all tight.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like the feel of that. It just felt sloppy. And I don't know, for me hitting rocks and roots and stuff, I felt like it was less stable.
Yeah.
A little bit more uncomfortable.
I like that, like talking about that, because I'm kind of the opposite, whereas I like a shoe with a wider toe box, which is like what Matt's referring to around the space around the toes. And I like to have a bit of room to wiggle my feet, or with going on like longer runs. Yeah. I like that my feet can move around in the shoe and not be so locked in.
Right.
And I don't have to.
You don't find it sloppy, like?
No, I like the movement, and I think maybe it's the lacing system that still holds your foot, or just like, again, different styles that it feels better to me to have a bit of movement, as long as the heel lock is still good.
Right.
And then the grip. So knowing too that you have a really good tread is going to be one of the more important things to like run confidently. And then a wider toe box, you can have wide or narrow. Some shoes like Brooks come in regular width or wide width.
So you can decide if you have a wide foot, you can actually get.
You can get a more narrow shoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's another option. And then you mentioned rock plate, which I think is a really important one to know about, because having a good rock plate is going to protect you from any sticks, any rocks, and like it does happen that things can come through your shoe. So having a rock plate is another really important feature if you're running on like more than a light gravel trail. Because it's just a thin ballistic rock shield. It's called on the Brooks shoes. It goes through the middle.
So like some sort of carbon fiber or something.
Yeah, and lacing systems, obviously those are also different. So depending on what you like, the thing with the Solomons, I would say, is that they don't allow you to do the lock with the laces in front that I'll do with the Brooks, where you kind of use the second hole, which we can talk about another time, is like lacing and locking your ankle in, which protects you on that downhill. But again, with a tighter, snugger fit shoe, maybe you don't need that as much. Or for your fit, like my toes just get trashed. I don't know why. It doesn't matter what I wear.
So yours has laces. The Solomon has like a pull cord.
Yeah.
Pull it tight.
And some people love it, some people hate it.
Up, and then you're locked in. That's not coming loose.
And that tucks in under the tongue.
You're not losing your shoe ever. I, for whatever reason, have a problem with laces always coming undone. Even when I double knot them, they come loose. And halfway through a run, I have to stop and tighten my shoe. So
what are you doing?
Tying my shoe. Well, pulling it tight. Because I got new Sensi Ride 4s from Solomon. These the lacing system, tightening them up. It's great.
Yeah.
But it could be different laces too. Certain ones seem to lock.
Yeah, laces with more texture lock a lot better. So like with the Brooks, again, they're almost like a rope texture, or they even have some that are almost fleecy, and those seem to hold really, really well and not come undone in mud. That's another way I find in winter.
They get wet and they kind of slip apart.
Yeah, some will.
Okay.
So most people say go up half a size. So again, there are some people who don't want their feet to be able to have that movement, but typically, you want a little bit of wiggle room in front of the toe.
Right.
So I would say if you go in, and especially if you're trying a new brand, try half a size up, see how it feels. Again, if it feels like a slipper, it's too big, but you do want to have a little bit of room so that when you're running downhill, your feet toes can kind of spread out without slamming into the front.
That's pretty much
find ones that fit. Know kind of what you're looking for what type of trails you run, whether you need a rock plate, types of grip that you need. And then obviously again, like just find that.
Just make sure it's a trail shoe. Really, at the end of the day, it's just, does it fit well, and does it feel good on your foot?
Yeah.
And ideally, you're not really going to know until you get out and run in it.
Another important part of running is obviously how you fuel.
Yeah.
So what can happen if you don't fuel well?
If you're not feeling well, you get grumpy, probably irritated.
Why am I mad at the earth?
Why am I angry at birds in the tree right now?
It might happen.
There's a whole lot of shit that can go wrong if you're not feeling well. So as far as fuel, we're talking about food, calories, and carbs.
And electrolytes. Yeah.
And this is anything from like a 4K, a 2K, to like a full-on 125K race.
Yeah.
Which you obviously need to eat and fuel properly then.
Yeah.
Like
you might make it through those shorter distances, but you won't feel as good as you could if you aren't feeling well throughout your day, but also you don't need to necessarily fuel in those shorter distances, but if you're not eating enough or going out hungry, you're going to notice different reactions. Sure. You typically want to start to consider fueling during your run when anything is over 90 minutes. So if you're going to be out for more than that, that's when you want to start to think about taking some stuff with you.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have breakfast and then you go out for a run an hour later and then you're on the trail and all of a sudden it's been 3 hours and you're like, oh, I've been running for an hour and I haven't eaten in 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
Somehow you think that you ate breakfast and that was enough to get through the day and then you realize that it's not.
Never is.
You got to be aware of what you're eating, when you're eating, and when you're doing your exercise.
Yeah. To make sure you eat before. So that's actually a great point. Is like taking a gel can be a really good pre-run snack. I find that for myself and a lot of athletes. Yeah. Like I just finished work. You know, if I'm going to go run or do a workout, I don't want a stomach full of food. So I say, well, take a gel because they're meant to be fast-acting fuel. Yeah. So you know that A, it should sit well for most people, especially if you have it a lot on the run. And B, you know that it's something that's getting in your system.
Right.
So you're not eating like a normal granola bar or something that isn't meant to be digested and broken down quickly.
Right, yeah.
You have different gels, like Spring Energy gels are awesome. They're a real food-based gel, so they have roughly, most of them have above 100 calories, which is a great amount for taking on the run or as you get out the door. And
these are a nice one. They taste like, they're made of real food.
They taste like real food.
And they taste like real food and they're made of real food.
But yeah, you want things that, again, sit well for you. Something that has roughly 100 calories. So if you're going out on a long run, you want to have between 150 and up to even, for some people, 300 calories per hour between your gels and your other fuel, which, for example, like Tailwind, where you have calories and electrolytes in your water.
Right.
And then they also have carbohydrates because of sugars. So you're getting kind of the double package there between what you're drinking, having calories, and what you're eating.
Yeah. So would you go with just plain water and some, say, Tailwind or whatever other drink mix, or would you just do just drink mix and both?
I like to do both with just drink mix with Tailwind.
So you still feel like you're getting hydrated from the water plus the mixture.
Yeah.
It's not like where sometimes you unless you just want straight water.
Yeah. Some people like to do straight water, but to me then I have to eat that much more.
Right.
Because you should be taking in, again, that same calorie total. So it's like another gel.
True.
Whereas if I
so
do
Tailwind, 2 gels in a bottle of water, or you can do Tailwind in a bottle.
Yeah.
For your hydration, calories, and then 1 gel.
Yeah.
For whatever you're eating. Goo bar or something like that. Yeah.
So if you don't put anything in your water, you do obviously want to pay attention a little bit more too to what's in your gels in terms of sodium, magnesium, potassium, like the electrolyte mixes.
Oh yeah.
And making sure that they have it in there. So it's
making sure that it has that combination or a combination of something that's substantial.
Having that combination so that you're actually still replacing electrolytes.
Right.
Because if you have most gels will have some of those things added.
Okay.
But they might not have they might not be fully designed as an electrolyte replacement or replenisher.
They're more of just a food supplement.
Yeah, and they'll add some salt because every runner needs salt.
And then the Tailwind and Scratch and whatever other, those are more electrolyte with calories as opposed to like a calorie electrolyte.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more designed, like Tailwind especially is designed in a way that it's meant to be something you could have all on its own, so it's a well-rounded drink mix.
All you need all day, really. So I don't know who's gonna just drink.
A lot of people do, or in like really long distance races, maybe you do 2 scoops per bottle and there's 200 calories. Or if your stomach's having a difficult time tolerating any food,
Right.
then that would be a good alternative so that you're not getting zero
Oh,
calories.
okay.
But
Yeah.
again, I would say ideally you're doing a mix of either gels or real foods and an electrolyte blend.
Okay.
Because if you stop eating too soon, that's when you run into problems with your stomach not tolerating any calories later.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're doing a really long race.
So you want to keep food going. In.
Yeah, you
Even
wanna
if
keep
it's
that going.
like, this is obviously a bit more real food with the spring energy.
Mhm.
But even if you were like, say, doing food
Food
gels
gels,
or
yeah.
something, is that still considered kind of real food?
Yeah.
Compared to just calorie dense?
Yeah, basically just not drinking.
Drinking
only, right? So
liquids,
having an
yeah.
actual
Something for your
gel.
body to break down.
Yeah, and then the other one we have out there is the trail butter.
Yeah.
And trail butter is another high calorie one. So that's one I like to use sometimes in winter because it's more calorie dense. The other thing to be kind of mindful of when we use things like trail butter is like this packet has 2 servings that are about 200 calories each. So you're getting about 400 calories, which is great, like size-wise.
Sure, yeah.
But it also has a high amount of fat, and sometimes fat can make the gut more active.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't want to use these like all day.
Right.
I plan to like, incorporate this in the upcoming race with maybe more towards nighttime, like to add a little protein to my
Yeah.
intake because most of the other gels will have very little to no protein.
Right.
So kind of to actually more so help ward off hunger
Mhm.
when I would have normally have had dinner and then maybe breakfast.
Okay. So
I might
something more
do a-
substantial.
Yeah. If I'm
But
getting
on top
hungry.
of that, you're still planning to eat food at an aid station.
Yeah, I think it depends
It's-
how I feel.
Right.
Again, I don't really like maybe in a 100-miler, then well, absolutely in a 100-miler, having like some real
Yeah.
food like noodles or and maybe a peanut butter and jam sandwich or something.
Yeah.
But in the 125K, I hope to be able to use mostly Spring Energy.
Okay. That's gonna be your main food.
Yeah, and the trail
source.
butter, and not having like a meal. Unless again something goes sideways and I'm moving way slower than planned,
Yeah.
then yeah, replenishing more
So you're not
calories.
planning to be eating like potatoes at every aid station, and pickles and bananas.
No, not
You're
with
kind of going more lean, like
yeah, and getting enough calories. So again, like I do have to make sure I'm starting right from 30 minutes in,
yeah.
having that gel that's about 110 calories plus my water.
Okay.
So yeah, if I get behind for some reason on my calories, that would be a great reason to take like a mouthful of some other foods that are
Yeah.
more calorie dense.
Right.
I always
That's
find that part a
something to
bit
look
hard.
like.
But yeah, again, like maybe the trail butter would be a perfect spot then because 2 tablespoons of it has like the
Yeah.
same calories as a gel or something. So you're
Yeah,
kind of
for
getting a
sure.
nice
Get a bit more out
dense.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 servings, 200 calories per pack.
But I'm pretty good about staying on top of calories.
Yeah.
I like the Spring Energy gels. So
Yeah.
and like the awesome
helps
sauce that
when-
we have
It helps when
here.
the food actually tastes good.
Yeah, like the awesome sauce, this gel is 180 calories. So when I'm mixing between
Pretty
these
quick.
2, it's like right there. If I eat those in an hour, there's what did I say? 180 plus 90 calories.
Yeah.
So plus what I'm drinking, you're really well covered, and you don't want to be shoving in 400 calories. Like that's not how I train and practice. So that would probably make me feel really full
So
and potentially
packing
gross.
in that much calorie that fast, could just feel gross.
Yeah, like I like with
Yeah.
this one especially, it's 180 calories. I like to open it and have a nice like rip top so that you can kind of just hold it and run.
Yeah.
And I eat them over like roughly
Through the
over a
tops.
kilometer, so that it's not like with a goo gel. I'll take it all kind of in one go, so it's done.
Yeah.
But with these, I'll actually more like almost like snack on them, like just
Enjoy them,
eat them
yeah.
over 5 or 6 minutes and take little bites, and then I find that always makes it really sit really well for me. Plus, I can be taking a bite and a sip of water to help make sure that I'm actually eating. That's the best one. It's so good. It tastes like apple pie. There is never a day that I don't want to have
Pretty
that.
delicious. It is pretty delicious.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's not a lot in there, but you were saying you just eat a little bit.
Yeah.
Enjoy
I just
it,
run, like take a
run,
bite,
yeah.
sip, run, bite, sip.
Yeah, if you're in like a bad mood or you're just like in that like state of mind where you're like you're not feeling normal or like yourself, and you can understand that, which is kind of the fun part of running, is
Yeah.
getting to those points where you realize like this isn't me normally. I think something's up
Why
here.
am I mad
Why
at the
am I-
earth?
Why am I angry at the
Eat.
birds in the tree right now?
Before I was saying hi to them, and now I'm like, nah.
Yeah. So when you get to those moments, you definitely need to eat.
Yeah,
whether
ideally
you
before.
feel
but
like it or not.
yeah,
And ideally before. You don't want to get to that point. But again, that's the fun part of running.
you
is
get there.
getting to that point and realizing
Oh, I'm
what it
angry.
actually is.
I think you make a really good point about eating. Yeah, ideally, like if you get to that point and you don't feel like eating, still eating.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I try really hard to help people practice in their training is like on your Saturday, Sunday longer runs, when you're preparing for a race, I'll say eat right from 30 minutes in all the way through the end because no one wants to. So
we just don't think.
Or like I have an hour, I'm gonna have lunch after. It's like no, practice eating all the way through because a couple of points. Like one, you can never replace all the calories that you burn in a long run, and you don't need a bigger deficit ever as a runner.
Yeah.
And then also because that's forcing you to eat in those moments when you otherwise don't want to, and that's the second half of every race.
Jeez.
So you want to start practicing that and be like, oh, I've been here before. Yeah, I know I'll feel better if I just eat. And so there's some really great resources out there through dietitians. Like Kylie Van Horn is an amazing dietitian that puts out really great pictures that are like info kind of slides of normal or like what she'd recommend for workout runs and like hard runs or long run days and how to fuel. And again, it just is more so creating that picture to show you that there's actually a lot to eat on those days. And David Roach or Chrissy Nail, they both say it in slightly different ways, I think, but two people I have heard it from, which is the general life rule is eat too much sometimes, eat enough always, and eat too little never. So just again looking at it's okay to eat too much. That's okay. It's definitely always eat is the number one answer. It's okay, obviously, to eat just enough and again not be stuffed and full, but always try to avoid hunger or eating too little.
Yes.
Yeah, the idea is not to be restrictive and to, again, with that type of equation, recognize how much you do need to eat as a runner. And I think that comes like with also the background that, you know, for a lot of people, there are challenges around eating enough for like various reasons and various approaches or relationships with food. And it's just that idea of being mindful of trying to eat and fuel your body. And you know, if that's challenging, to obviously try and get some like help or keep working at it. There's a lot of times where that's hard. That's okay too. One of the main things that can lead to that feeling of not wanting to go for your runs is if you're always running too hard. Yeah. So like when you sometimes have started running, I do like the blocker. Like we're not going that fast
Coach
today. The bar's up.
Takes hold and
get back behind me.
Reins you back in. This is a good reason to have a coach.
But one of the main things I see people challenge themselves with like too often is going out running too fast and trying to hit set paces every day and not going by effort. So if you are new or experienced, you should always be working on doing a lot of your runs at what is considered an easy effort. So that's a conversational pace where you could actually be in a dialogue with somebody. So you want to run at a conversational effort where you could be talking out loud to somebody and not straining, like not just always reaching for a set pace. So for some people, that means leaving the watch at home and just running by feel. And then also not, another one I see a lot, which another topic we can talk about another day, but like not letting heart rate dictate your efforts and really getting more in tune with how you actually feel. So does this feel like you could almost go all day if you needed to, or that you could run at least substantially longer than maybe what you're out for? Like if you're going for a 5 or 10K, could I run for another 5 or 10K and have this pace maintained? If the answer is no, you should probably slow down. There's ways to sprinkle in intensity. But again, studies show that in endurance programs, you actually want to have between like 80 and up to 95% easy running, which is a lot different than most people think. Like they think to run fast, you have to run fast, but to run long distances, to run for a long time and to actually maximize like your aerobic benefits, you have to run easy. So it's more about the long-term process of being like running a certain 5K time 3 times a week is not going to make you necessarily run faster or farther. It's more about running easily, running with ease and consistent. Let's say the typical Monday to Friday type person, or even a shift work, like 4 on 4 off type shift work, things like that. You're typically going to see at least 1 full rest day per week. That means an actual rest day, and then often 5 run days, or up to 5. And that other one can sometimes be a 6th run day, sometimes be a cross training day. So if you're just getting started, aiming for 3 to 4 runs a week is an excellent place to start. And you can start to work on having some of those days be back to back. Like, for example, a very typical schedule for a lot of people is Monday as a rest day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday would be run days. and then Friday as a rest day, Saturday, Sunday as run days, with your longer runs being those days. If you're new, you might opt to have your Thursday as a cross-training day, like biking, walking, yoga, things like that, or Sunday even as another option for that day.
Cool.
If you're aiming to follow a plan and like improve your running, you need to have those more consistent runs throughout the week, because that's where your body builds the like musculoskeletal adaptations, the aerobic fitness. And again, it's not to say you're losing all of that if you don't do it. Like those weeks happen.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to be training relatively consistently throughout the week, not overdoing it and not overdoing your efforts. And then again, thinking of that long-term process, that the more days you get out, again, within reason, the more you're going to gain over time in that long-term journey. And then if you keep the efforts where they're supposed to be and best kind of suited to be at that easy effort, you're also going to avoid things like burnout or have lower risk of certain types of injuries. So when you get started, the main thing to do is to go out and not overrun yourself. And not do too much too soon, and not run as hard as you can for every run, so that you do enjoy it and get back out and don't hurt yourself.
The biggest thing with everything running is just have fun doing it.
All right, okay, it's time to go.
Time to run.
We're going running.
See ya.
Bye.